Shana Tova. Good morning. Perhaps you already know the story of Saul Goldstein, the Jewish grandfather walking on the beach with his grandson when a huge wave crashed down, sweeping the boy into the depths of the ocean. Saul dropped to his knees and prayed for the return of his boychik. Please, God, I've always been a good person, a loving Zayda. Please return my grandson to me. Just as he is finishing his prayer, another huge wave crashes back, returning his grandson. Saul begins to cry and hug the boy. He is overcome with joy and gratitude. And then he pauses and looks once more at his grandson. And he looks up at the heavens and says, he had a hat. And in that moment, the mood changes. What should have been a time of joy and gratitude are eclipsed by disappointment, exasperation, and that sentiment of not getting it all. Instead of holding happiness, Saul dwells on the oys and not the joys. What should have been a moment of sweetness becomes sour. And while we may like sour pickles, no one likes sour grapes. What does it do to our souls when we lean into the negative? How does it make you feel when there is always something not right enough or never good enough? On this new year, can we choose to lean more fully into places of gratitude and feelings of blessing? Can we choose to not dwell on the negative? Of course, this is a fictional story and it made you laugh. But the tale illustrates a central message of our holiday season. Our words matter. They change how a situation feels. Our words create worlds. Our Rosh Hashanah liturgy reads, Hayom Harat Olam. Today is the birthday of the world. We chant these words 3 times in our service after the shofar and before the words, Arashat Sfatenu Ye'erav Lefanecha. May the words on our lips be pleasing to you, God. But we could have stopped at the first 2 words. May the words on our lips be pleasing. Because life is challenging. Our families, friend groups, and communities should be places that are less hard. Today is the birthday of the world. According to legend, though, the first day of creation occurred on the 25th day of Elul, or the 26th, 5 days before Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah then is the 6th day of creation and is the birthday of the creation of humanity. Just as God created the world with words, we too create worlds with our words. Words create the spaces and the fields that are between us. The worlds we live in day to day. Words create how we feel about our relationships, our lives, and our communities, and our country. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who spoke, and then the world became. For 900 years, this phrase has anchored our daily morning service. You know, words are so important that God actually brings the world into being through speech. It is also, blessed anyone who speaks and brings a world into being. God shared with us the gift of speech, and we create social realities with our speech. God says, let there be light, and there's light, and God responds with, Ki Tov, it's good. God models gratitude. Later in the creation story, we even hear it is very good. Ki Tov Me'od. This is the crucial value of Hakarat HaTov, recognizing and naming the good. Can we make our spiritual Can we make it our spiritual practice to name and thus to honor what is good? Could you imagine that only a few days into creation, the world was not yet perfect? There were no couples in love, long summer days or double lattes. It wasn't all perfect yet. But God speaks the words, "It's very good." Because God responds in speech to what is present and not to what is missing. What if every time we speak, we model God's actions of creation by creating good spaces and good feelings with our words? Or words create atmospheres with loved ones at work, when speaking about our values, which is also known as speaking about politics, or in the sacred shared space of this holy community. Our family and our community should be known for its kind words and its warm atmosphere. Each time we speak, it is our choice to love our neighbor as ourselves or not, to lift someone's spirit or to bring them down, to criticize or not. You know, our world seems to have an overabundance of harshness and criticism. Do you want to live in that place? Because I don't. I want us to create worlds built on the enduring values of chesed, of loving kindness, and of shalom, of peace. On Yom Kippur, we will each enumerate the sins of lashon hara, of speaking badly about people. It can also mean language that is destructive to people, to a country, or to a community. Language that brings things down. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, wonders if there's lashon hara, if there's bad speech, can there also be lashon hatov, good speech? If it is a sin to speak badly about people or to throw negativity into our space, is it also a mitzvah to speak the good and to bring in positivity? Yes. We can engage in lashon tov. We can use language to encourage, to empathize, to motivate, and to inspire. Look, this does not mean that every time we speak, we need to engage in saccharine-like positivity. We do have obligations to speak and to seek truth and to give rebuke, but only under certain circumstances, says Jewish law. We are responsible for the effects of our words, our attitude, our energy, and even our tone, and how they affect others. Our tradition teaches that we should only bring rebuke if the person is able to hear us, if it is done gently, privately, and in the context of a relationship based on respect and even love. We can learn a lesson from the methods of DBT, or dialectical behavioral therapy. Before we criticize, we should ask ourselves, how will what I say be heard? Will it affect change? And we must search ourselves first. Do I always search for what is wrong first? Can I find something good? Anything? In the Talmud, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, I would be surprised if there is anyone in this generation who knows how to rebuke correctly without embarrassing the person they are rebuking. Later, Rabbi Chaim Luzzatto, an 18th century scholar, teaches that if we cannot give rebuke in a dignified and kind way, and in a way where it will be heard, then it is a mitzvah to say nothing at all. Silence, shtika. We do not need to always be right. Sometimes, for the sake of shalom, for the sake of peace, we can let it go. Our words should build worlds, not work to destroy them. Can we create environments of love and kindness? Can we choose to create or will we choose to create worlds of strife and consternation, of it never being good enough? I want to tell you something you already know. There are and will be places this year where the rhetoric may get ugly and not fueled by love. Our country will enter an election cycle. Israel is struggling with its internal identity. Negative speech, constantly expressing what is not right, abounds, and it brings our relationships and our communities down. Negative speech does not lead to bridges of understanding. Can we instead create worlds from kind words and a sense that we can let things go and that we can be okay enough? Can things be tov, good, like God says, or maybe even tov me'od, really good? There's a new drama on TV, well, it's on Hulu, called The Bear. Have you seen it? Yes. In season 2, Richie, the main character, in the episode called Forks, goes for a week of training at a high-end restaurant. Richie is weathered and cynical and rough around the edges. At the start, he does not do well with the idea that every single customer interaction is crucial. He learns, though, that words, kind intentions, and mood create the experience of life. He's transformed, and he sees that his actions and words, even a few seconds of interchange, radically change the diner's experience. Ask the customer service trainers at Nordstrom's or Disney, and they will tell you the same thing. Every interaction, all of our words, tones, and action, even how we stand, creates the experience for others. At Disney University, their cast members, not employees, learn to turn tragic moments into magic moments. Every employee is trained how to talk to customers. Well, not customers, guests. And the person with the most training isn't the guy running the ride or the woman playing Snow White. The person with the most training is the guy with the broom. Because if you're lost or you're looking for a place to eat or you can't find your kid, the guy you're going to ask for help is the guy with the broom. They are trained to treat you like their guest and to help you. So I wonder, we know this works in sales, but shouldn't it work in real life as well? How could we serve others with our kind and our good words? There's a well-known idea that we are less kind and less good to those we love, especially when we're anxious, because we can let our guard down with them. But shouldn't the customer service idea, the idea that our words, our tones, our actions matter even more with those that we love, those we work with, and those we create community with? Good customer service should just be how we live and encounter the world. Let me leave you with a story. Once upon a time, in a land far away, a monastery had fallen on hard times. It was once part of a great order, which as a result of religious persecution, lost many followers. It was decimated to the extent that there were only 5 monks left. The abbot and 4 others, all of whom were over 90, lived together. Deep in the woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut that the rabbi from the nearby town would occasionally go to as a getaway to think and be. One day, it occurred to the abbot to visit his friend, the rabbi, and see if he could offer any advice that might save the monastery. The rabbi welcomed the abbot and commiserated, "I know how it is. The spirit has gone out of the people. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." The old rabbi and the old abbot wept together and spoke quietly of deep things, as old friends do. The time came for the abbot to take his leave, and they embraced. "It is so wonderful to be with you, my friends," said the abbot, "but I have failed in my purpose for coming. Have you no advice that might save the monastery?" The old rabbi responded, "I have no advice to give. The only thing I can tell you is maybe one of you is the Messiah. Huh? When the other monks heard the rabbi's words, they wondered what possible significance they had. The Messiah, one of us, at the monastery in the middle of the woods in Eastern Europe? Do you suppose he meant the abbot? Of course he meant the abbot. He's our leader. On the other hand, he might have meant Brother Thomas, who's a holy man. Certainly he could not have meant Brother Elrod. He's so crotchety. But then Elrod is very wise. He surely could have meant Brother Philip. He's so passive, but then magically, he's always there when you need him. Of course, he didn't mean me. Oh, Lord, not me. As they contemplated in this matter, the old monks began to speak and to treat each other with extraordinary respect and kind words on the off chance that one of them might be the Messiah. Because the forest in which the monastery was situated was beautiful, people came to visit it, to picnic, and to wander along its old paths, which most led to the old chapel. They sensed an aura of respect and kindness surrounding the 5 monks. They began to come more frequently, and they brought their friends, and their friends brought friends. Some of the younger men who came to visit began to engage in conversation, and one of them asked if he could join, and then another and another. Within a few years, the monastery became a thriving place, full of love and respect, filled with kind and caring words. If we choose, our worlds can also be filled with that aura of love, respect, and kindness. This year, can we sometimes choose silence over negativity? Can we use our words with a little more gentleness? Can we find what is good in each other and name it? Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who speaks. Each of you, each of us, as you speak, should be blessed with lashon tov, with good, kind speech that creates loving worlds among your families, your friends, this country, and in this very sacred community. Shana Tova u'Metuka, a sweet and happy new year. We continue now together with the Musaf service. Again today, there will be several additions, noting that we are welcoming of those who went to the Riverside service and the